Swade Soul Show. I want to welcome you to another edition of the Swade Soul Show. And this edition today, I have one of my really, really good friends from a long time. I always call him my brother daddy because he kind of raised me and you know, we argued like brothers too. So I got on the line today, Mr. Arthur Mitchell, one of the legends in the game today. Mr. Mitchell, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, Harold. How about you, man? It's good to see you. And nice to be with you. You know what I mean?
Man.
And you heard it about right. We I love you like a son and fought you like a brother.
That's real talk, man. I love you still, man. But hey, I wanted to bring you on today, man, because I think the world needs to know a lot of what you've done and you know where you started at in this game, and it was a very unique road for you. So I want to bring up some of the stuff that we want. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about Arthur Mitchell and his road to success and the things that he's done. Let's talk about. I want to go back where you were born at. Talk about that whole Michigan journey.
Oh man, you know, I was born in the Detroit area. Really been into music ever since I was young, but unfortunately I didn't have no talent, you know. But I had a knack for being able to get the gigs and MC and announce and come up with ideas, and you know, it just kind of worked out that way. And then I went off into some other corporate endeavors and
wait, I don't want to move too fast. I mean, because you know, a lot of people don't know you at a young age. You were an athlete. You were an athlete that was destined for some greatness. So tell a little bit about that situation.
Well, you know, I was a wrestler in high school and college, and I came within a penalty point of going to the Olympics, and because I was always little, you know, I'm still little. Well, I'm fat now, man. I weigh 150 pounds. Can you believe that?
Man, you're huge now. Look at you.
Yeah, I'm huge, man. When I graduated high school, I weighed 101 at 17 years old.
That's funny. Okay, so tell us a little bit about that life, man. What was that like being an athlete during that time frame in the world?
I came up during I was part of the 68 riots. And I came up during Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement, and you know it's really man, it's really hard for me. You know, I'm really proud of the young people, but it seemed like we fought this war one time, you know, and it seems like this particular administration has taken us back to where we should never have been. I mean, I marched in the streets, man. I burned up buildings. I did all of that kind of shit. You know, I mean, we wasn't, you know, the Detroit riots was almost, if not worse than the Los Angeles riots back then. And we fought hard, and, you know, I remember John Lewis, you know, and, you know, I was sitting in front of the TV when Martin Luther King got killed, and, you know, so John Kennedy, I saw it on TV. You know, I was watching the parade in Dallas, and so I saw a lot of stuff during my youth and coming up as a teenager. And fortunately, I was in the Detroit area where we had a lot of African Americans, a lot of brothers. And back then, you know, I had the big afro and the platform shoes, but more the dashiki.
Well, you still got the dashiki and the platform shoes. You just ain't got the front. You know?
But you know, it was the thing, man. You didn't walk by a brother, man. It was always right on, brother, right on, right on. You know, we were tight, man. Much, you know, and it just it seems like now, somewhere between my generation, in the middle somewhere, we didn't connect with that middle generation. But these young kids, it's Black Lives Matter and some of the other organizations and the way they were out there, you know, letting their voices be heard, doing the George Floyd, and Breonna Taylor, and I stay up on that. I'm a really, really conscious black man.
And I want to talk about how you got your move into business when you started, going through all these trials and tribulations that was happening back in the 60s. How did you find a way to navigate to where you started learning business, at least in a basic way, to understand how to move around?
Okay, so let me tell you how I really got started in business. I was a DJ. I had a DJ crew called the Rubber Band Disco Experience, because I was crazy about the Parliament and Bootsy. We went to all their shows and stuff. Excuse me. So a car dealership in one of the whitest areas of Tecumseh, Michigan, hired me to DJ their grand opening. So I went out there to set up, and I seen all these white guys walking around with suits and ties and shit on. So I went back home, put on a suit and tie. So they ain't gonna, look one been better than me. So I went home, put on a suit and tie. And they had spinning music and stuff. And then during the break, man, the car lot was full. They were giving away, they say America, hot dogs and apple pie. That's what they're doing. They had a big thing going on, giving away. People were stopping along the road, getting hot dogs and a piece of apple pie. And I'm standing around there, and people started coming up to me. They thought I was a salesman. They started coming up to me and asking me about the cars. And I didn't know nothing about the cars. All I know is what it said on the side on the sticker. They said, well, how much is this car? You see it right there. Lo and behold, man, I sold 14 cars that day. At sticker price, tax, license, and made more money than any of the salesmen for the company.
Wow. I'm not surprised, because I know many stories that's just like that, man. So, wow.
So they hired me, but now here's the kicker. They hired me. Never had they had a black salesman. They hired me, said, but you can't, when you work for a car dealership, the people that walk on the lot are called ups. It's your turn, that's your up. But they hired me, but they said, but you can't have any ups. Meaning, because the white salesman, they was tripping. So if somebody just walked, the only way I could sell a car, they had to walk into the car dealership and ask for Arthur Mitchell. If they didn't specifically say Arthur Mitchell, if I'd have met them down the street and they didn't specifically say Arthur Mitchell, the other salesman got to sell.
Wow. Okay. So it had to be physical.
That's how I got started.
That's a great story, man. So I know that later on you went in and you started a janitorial business. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
I had a construction cleanup company where we would go around after the carpenters and drywallers and stuff, and we would just pick up the trash. And I was working for a brother in Atlanta, Michigan called Mr. Barfield. And then he had a bunch of apartments. He had the biggest janitorial services in the area in Washington County. And he had a bunch of apartments that he was cleaning. After with the scrap and all that, then you got to clean the apartment and get the stove and all that ready. He was cleaning, and he got in an argument with the management, and he had so much money, he didn't care. He told him, take the contract and shove it. And I'm standing outside the office because I had to get something, and I heard him arguing, and he walked out and said, I don't want. And he said, okay. So I said, I'll take it. And I'd never done it before.
Wow.
And that's how I got into that.
That's a great story. So that led you into, okay, all that was still done in Detroit, or when did that happen to where you started
that was all done in
to
Detroit.
California?
That was all done in Michigan, various parts of Michigan, Detroit, surrounding areas.
So tell me how your merger to the West Coast came about.
You want me to tell you the truth or not to you?
This is the truth. We're talking the truth on here.
Okay, well, it's in the 80s, and crack is bad. By this time, I done built up a company that had 27 employees, billing over $50,000 a month, and somebody introduced me to the pipe. I smoked the whole company up. And
Wow.
my friend from California came home because they, I was always expected to be, they always, I couldn't sing, I couldn't dance, but I was supposed to have the brains. You know what I mean? And they respected that, and I was supposed to carry the ball. And he came home from California, and I had fell so low from a house on the water to live back home with my mother, and I heard he was in town, so he called my mother and said, "I'm coming down there." And so I was hiding. I heard him pull up, and I hid in the closet because I was so embarrassed. He said, "Motherfucker, you coming to California. You coming away from these niggas." So he got me, my goal was to get to Los Angeles, and I'm talking about Ralph and Ralph's brother Robert, who was part of our label, and my friend from Michigan.
Incredible drummer, incredible artist.
Singer, artist, your label mate, the whole 9 yards. And I couldn't get to LA. Every opportunity that came along was in San Diego. So I ended up going to San Diego. And when I landed in San Diego, I got a one-way ticket from Detroit to San Diego, and I had a job for 30 days, and part of the deal was I was supposed to sell magazines to the military, which by that you were in the Navy, down on 32nd Street.
Absolutely.
And so what happened was I only had $20 when I got there, but he gave me 30 days in the Hotel Churchill on C Street. You know that is the worst. You know what I'm talking about?
Ooh, do I know? I know exactly where you are.
That was, you talk about Skid Row. So that 20, you know how long $20 I was eating? They said still had the 2 tacos for 99 cents a Jack in the Box. And that was my meal. So I met this white boy, and he said, "I know we can get something to eat." Because then Horton Plaza wasn't built like it is now. Horton Plaza was at one time the largest indoor mall in America. It's in San Diego, downtown San Diego. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility. And back in the 80s, San Diego still has a serious homeless problem, but that's where they hang out, right there, sleep right on Horton Plaza. So the white guy tells me, he said, "Okay, we go get us something to eat." So he said, "Follow me." So I'm following him, we walk around. And next thing I know, we at St. Vincent de Paul Center in the soup line. And something said, just grab me. And I said, "No, man, you can't go out like this." I said, "Either send me $100 or rob a bank." She said, "Find the nearest Western Union." So when I got the $100, I went to the store. I bought me a whole bunch of canned goods and stuff to put up in the room so I could eat. And then I started thinking. So I got a phone book out, and I called every construction company and every property management company in San Diego. And you'll know this to be true. So I hit along Progress Management. You know what I'm talking about, Harold? In San Diego.
I remember Progress Management.
Okay, Conrad Presby, he owned everything. And I happened to call up there and to a supervisor, one of the supervisors answered, and I said, "Look, man, I'm looking for a job. I can do apartment cleaning, I can do construction cleanup." And the lady said, "We just had our cleaning crew quit. I got 13 condos in Pacific Beach. I need them cleaned right away. I give you $150 for each condo." So I had about $60 and $100 left. I bought me some all-purpose cleaner. I got me a mop, a broom, dustpan, and I went and cleaned them 13 condos. But I told the lady, that's right. I told her, I said, "Look, I got to have my money. I can't wait 30, 60, 90 days to have my money." So I cleaned them 13 condos by myself.